Are you ready to start finally knowing how to use Claude Cowork in your day, especially if you are a virtual assistant or an executive assistant? In this video, I'm going to walk you through step by step through the process of how to maximize Claude Cowork for yourself, especially since you do need to have a paid plan for this first and foremost, and how to maximize it as much as you can or as much as you should in your day to day. Now, the easiest way to think of Claude Cowork is imagine Claude with hands, where you can actually get Claude to do the work for you. Instead of generating ideas or just chatting with back and forth, you can actually get Claude Cowork to do the work that you need it to do, which is why it's super important that you guys go ahead and map out where you're spending your daily, your weekly, your monthly. If you guys want the whole breakdown of how to do that, you guys can check out my last video from last week. But essentially the cliff notes or the summary version of it is that you essentially create a way for you to just be very aware of what are the things that you're doing, what your workflow looks like, what that maps out and what that means for you, and then actually going ahead and map out what are the things that you want to make sure that is kept as a human in the loop, and what are the things that can be fully automated with AI. And these are usually your repetitive tasks, things that don't really need a lot of checking or second guessing. And these are usually tasks that involve a lot of just having to do it over and over again. Now, what is Cowork? I'm going to show you guys essentially what it looks like on the desktop, because you do need to be on the desktop version of Claude for this. But essentially what it is, it lives inside of your home. Now, it used to be that it was 3 different tabs, that you had chat and Cowork, and then you had code. But literally just today, they changed this interface. So depending on tutorials you guys have seen in the past, that's basically why there's different versions of this. It might change again tomorrow. Who knows? Claude/Anthropic is really funny that way. Now, when you click on new chat, you basically have choice, of course, to click chat, which is basically where you should go when you're just brainstorming something, when you want to make minor tweaks and edits. But again, Cowork, the biggest reason why it's different than actual chat is it can do documents, it can create documents, it can edit documents, it can modify things inside of a folder that you assign it to. And the way that Claude/Anthropic frames it is you basically give it a task, you walk away, you come back, it's already done. Now, if your client hasn't been really paying or hasn't offered to pay for your Claude paid, this might be the opportunity to do it, but you need a plan to be able to convince them. And the main way to create that plan is for you to just know what you can or cannot do when it comes to using Claude Cowork. Now, again, in the last video, I mapped out what are the daily, weekly, monthly things that you're doing, and then using that as your kickoff basically into actually using AI for all of that. Now, to just quickly walk you guys through what you're going to see, at least for now, this interface might change again. But here we have the toggle between chat and Cowork. And you guys will see here, I have a few things that are already scheduled tasks. Now, scheduled tasks are a cool thing that you can do with Cowork. You can technically kind of do it with code, but it's a little bit more complicated. But on Cowork, you can have it where you have different settings or set tasks that you wanted to do at a certain time, and it does it every single time as long as your battery or your laptop is turned on. And you also have, essentially, there's a toggle that you can click where it runs even when your laptop is asleep. Now, you guys can see I have a Mrs. Norris 10 p.m. nightly audit. This basically goes through all of my Zoom notes, goes through all of the transcriptions, and then basically grabs any to-dos there. We have evening Snape, which basically updates from the Mrs. Norris, and these are all Hogwarts based. Basically from that notes from the 10 p.m. from yesterday and updates its own contact list. I have another one that's basically just grabs like what's my meetings tomorrow to make sure that I am briefed on who I'm meeting with. And then I also have an Ella inbox manager, which if you guys watched the video where I walked my own assistant Honey through how to set up her own email management agent, that's basically who Ella is. It basically goes through my emails every 7 a.m. and cleans my inbox as if my assistant was the one cleaning it up. And of course, lastly, we have Albus, my morning brief, which basically gathers all of information from Snape, from Mrs. Norris, from my to-do list basically on Notion, and also my email, and gives me an actual text message every single day right as I start working. And I just basically review that and kind of have a really good idea of what my day is going to be like. Now, that is what scheduled is. Then here you can see project or folder. Now I won't open this because this is my actual Claude account. I won't want to show you guys everything. But here is you can assign projects and you can put basically your ideas into a container. This makes it where it kind of lives as you've assigned this as a human. It has its own memory, it has its own set of instructions, and essentially anytime that you chat with it inside of that project, it contains that. And essentially a folder is an actual physical folder on your laptop. So here you can go ahead and click on choose a different folder, and it will basically pop up all your folders, and you can either click new folder to create this folder just for this. For me, I do have my own Claude folder inside of my documents, so then I know where to find everything else. But then inside of the Claude folder, I will have per project that I'm working on folders inside of there as well. And again, it works as kind of a container of like, this is the project that you're working on, this is the goal, I have all of my files in here. Rather than you having to upload every single thing into Claude, it just looks into its folder, gets the context there, and then runs with it. And then here you guys will also see all of the scheduled agents basically, or the scheduled tasks that I have. You guys will also see here artifacts. Artifacts is, we'll dive into it a little bit more, but inside of Claude Cowork, you can create live artifacts where it grabs from different tools. If you guys remember from a video that I did a few weeks ago where I showed you guys how to build your own dashboard with Claude, this is essentially what a live artifact is. It grabs ideas and thoughts essentially from different sources that you might have that you wanted to grab from, and basically just shows it to you in one dashboard. So that is the walkthrough basically on Claude Cowork, just so you can see how everything else works. Now, how do you actually use it as a virtual assistant? Again, the first step is to go ahead and map out your daily, your weekly, your monthly, ranking it basically from how many tools is it dependent on, how repetitive is it, how less human in the loop does it actually need. When you find out which task that is, and you guys can see very obviously on my scheduled, inbox management is just one of the first ones that you can probably go ahead and schedule and have Cowork run. So for example, let's say I'm going to recreate the Ella inbox manager all over again. So here I would actually go ahead and create a folder just for that. So we'll just call this, email management, if you want to name it. I like naming my agents just because it makes it easier for my brain to remember and not to say, oh, the email management agent. So here is to follow through the SOP process on cleaning and managing the inbox. So you're gonna go ahead and create a project. The main reason why you wanna have it in a project is so then everything is kind of contained in one space. It's easier for you to go back to it later on. And you guys will also notice that there's also a toggle here of manual approve and skip all approvals. I'll explain that in a little bit. But now that hopefully, let's say you've really chosen, okay, let's do email management, the importance of listing out the tools and the assets and the templates that you have connected to this task comes in here, where you do have to go into customize and also connect the Gmail account of your client. Now, this could be a little bit tricky depending on the comfort level of your client, is you will have to kind of go ahead and connect their own Gmail into your Claude, so then you can actually do things. Now, this is the reason why for my assistant, Honey, that Ella, her inbox manager, lives in my Claude instead of her Claude, is because she does have only the delegate access of my Gmail, so it won't show up when it connects to Claude. It's a little bit annoying, but I don't really mind just because then it just runs on my computer. I have multiple agents basically running in the morning anyway, so I don't really mind. But that's essentially how you can get that started. And then here on the prompt, you remember the WOAH method. Basically, when you're talking to an AI, you want to give it the context of who you are, what you do, who you work with, the outcome you're looking for, asking it to ask you questions, basically ask me questions about this if there's anything that needs clarification. And then H is the how you actually want it done. Now the H is the important part, and creating and building out your standard operating procedure of how you've been doing this for your client, whether it is this inbox management or it could be a whole other task that you're currently doing. And you want to make sure that it is documented, it is written down, because then you are starting from a place where the AI already knows what to do rather than you having to train the AI over and over again. You already have a process and system that currently works. You want to make sure it currently works before you add AI into it. A big mistake a lot of people make when it comes to adding AI to anything is they just put it on top of what they're currently doing without documentation, without a guide, without anything else, and then they get mad when AI doesn't do what it's supposed to do. So that's why it's super duper important that you write it out. What is your recurring tasks and how do you currently do it? It doesn't have to be a full standard operating procedure just yet. Of course, you can ask Claude to create that for you. But the idea here is to just capture what it is in your brain of how you're doing this task. Now, a key thing is turning that task into a skill. So that way, every single time that your Claude Cowork fires, it remembers and looks at the skill that you have created. Now, if you have no idea what a skill is, it's essentially you just ask Claude of like, hey, I want to turn this recurring thing into a skill. So for example, the inbox management is actually its own skill inside of my Claude. So if I go to customize, I go to skills, there's an email manager in there where it's essentially, Leanne's Gmail inbox management agent named by Honey, and basically follows the 7-step SOP of inbox scan, tool, emails, newsletter, spam, follow-up checks, draft replies, send Honey report. So it sends Honey a report, my assistant Honey report, every single time it runs. That way for her, she just reads that report, goes into my inbox, and basically just answers or goes back to the things that it said that, hey, we need to do this. So before you start, it has the MD file, so it reads its own MD file. It goes to Gmail versus the MCP. It runs every 7 a.m. and can be triggered manually, basically, depending on what's going on and what's happening. So that's essentially how I built this. Now, I'm not gonna go through step-by-step really on all of this, but essentially, it came from my own assistant's SOP. We turned it into a skill. So then every single time that Ella, the inbox manager, fires every morning, it looks at the skill that it learned and then uses that essentially to be able to run the task that it needs to run. Now, if you want to create a scheduled task, just go to scheduled, and then you can go ahead and click just new task, create with Claude, or set up manually. So depending on how you want it done, you can. I like to set up manually because I can just chat with it. Or one of the favorite things that I do this also is I go to my Claude chat and ask it to give me the instruction on Claude for Claude scheduled, and essentially a little bit meta, but then I paste that into here. That way I'm making sure that the AI is talking to AI in the AI language, and I'm not just blabbering and then AI can't understand or do what I'm asking it to do. So that's also another way. But yeah, you create a scheduled task, the name, the description, what it's about, what's supposed to do. If it has to live in a folder, then you do that here. If it's manual, or skip all approvals, so it will just do things even without you checking. And then how frequent you want it done, and then you click save, and that's essentially it. That's a big chunk of how Claude Cowork works, is getting it to the point where this is to a point autonomous, because it can do the tasks without having you be in the loop every single time. Scheduled tasks is also where you kind of get it to stop being just a chatbot, but instead of having it be a co-worker. Now, after you do that, after you keep setting up essentially more and more of your tasks inside of Claude Cowork, you can keep going essentially on just the recurring. There's also different ways where, for example, for me, every single time that we do a call with a potential client, it essentially, I can have it run a Claude Cowork where it goes into my Zoom, creates a proposal, and the proposal ends up in my folder. It's my actual folder inside of my computer. So then I can just send it out as an email, or of course I can ask it to go ahead and draft the email. And then I just double check the PDF that it created to make sure that it's actually correct. Now, there's so much more that you can really do with Claude Cowork. But again, before you do any of this, make sure that you do your foundation first of mapping out what it is that you're doing, how you want to use it with Claude Cowork, what are the limitations? And finally, the key thing is to remember a little bit of distinction of what can be done by Cowork and AI and what has to be kept human. Anything that needs real judgment, anything that's client relationships or human relationships in general, any sensitive information or anything that's final to be sent out to a client or someone else to review, you need a human in the loop there. Again, AI is really good at the repetitive, but you still need that human in the loop to make sure that it's accurate, to make sure that it is right. Now, a few more examples of how I've used Claude Cowork and other people use Claude Cowork. We basically have a client where we built out a whole process for them. They were a book publishing company where we had an AI breeze through all of the grammar mistakes, and that was so far the easiest one that we could just go ahead and automate for them. And what it does is basically the AI reads the whole folder or the whole file of that book and then basically spouts out a version of like, hey, here's the cleaned up version. It will actually say clean version on it. Another example that you can use Claude Cowork for is, again, just the live artifacts. Like, I love building live artifacts and dashboards and basically synthesizing a lot of my own ideas and thoughts into just one place that I can just look at. And it's super duper cool. And finally, like I said, the scheduled runs. Like, that's how you turn Claude Cowork from just being something that you chat into a coworker that does things even without you prompting, because you've already set up how it's going to do things, when it's supposed to do things, and the parameters of how is it doing what it's supposed to do. So again, make sure that you map out your tasks, basically rank them, find what are the easy, repetitive ones you can just have AI and Claude Cowork take care of. Keep in mind that you are not behind. You just need to go ahead and map out your work and use Claude Cowork in the right way as well. And if you guys want to learn more about this, I am building the Ava Insider, which is basically my AI for virtual assistants community on nas.com. If you want to go ahead and join that, I do monthly workshops on how to get started when it comes to using AI, especially as a virtual assistant. So make sure to check that out on the community. And if you guys like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there. Comment below what's a task that you've been wanting Claude to do and you haven't been able to figure out. Let's brainstorm that together. And if you still haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos every Sunday on how to grow your career, especially in the age of AI. And if you want to grow your own business in the age of AI, you guys can check out my second channel here, or you can just check out the latest video right here. Hope you guys have an amazing and wonderful day. And with that, small steps matter. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye.